talk with him, fellowship with him, and he was trying to introduce a message to him. Well, this one day, Jack was driving, and I was with Brother Frank and Brother Lavelle and Brother Will. You know Brother Will. I can't remember who else was in the vehicle, but I was in the back. Now Jack is driving. He's the one they're witnessing to. Jack's driving the car. Brother Lavelle is in the passenger seat, and Brother Frank is behind the seat. Jack is driving, but Brother Frank is behind the seat. Right on top of his head, on his shoulder. And they're witnessing to Jack. And when Brother Lavelle gets started, well, I'm sitting way in the back, and we're going for about maybe 10, 15 minutes, and I'm saying, well, won't they let him, gee whiz, give him a break? They are really coming down on the brother. They're whipping him, just talking to him, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, well, they really should just wait until we get to where we're going, and then talk to him. Give him a little break because the man is driving, and you don't want all that pressure on you. I'm thinking these thoughts, But you know what happened? I think it was that night, but I found out the next day. I think it was the next day. Brother Frank said, he saw it, brother. He saw it, Brother Ron. I said, are you kidding? He said, oh, yeah. He saw it, under all that pressure, and bombarding back, he probably didn't have time to think about what they were saying. And, I said, Brother Frank, what I was thinking back there? I said, why don't you guys give him a break? Gee whiz. He's a man, he's driving. That's too much pressure. He can't. He said, it's all right, Brother Ron, to think about that, but you kept your mouth shut. You didn't say nothing, Amen. No, that's right. Yeah, see? See, when the man is carrying the ball, what you do? You block. Amen. Yeah, you block, you pray. See? You have no idea what the Lord is doing. I wasn't in the shoes. That wasn't my responsibility. I was there for the ride, to witness, But it worked, Sometime, and the most important thing about, well, not the most important thing, but it's very important, when people go on mission fields that haven't been before, regardless of whether you're a minister or witness or sister or brother, if you're not called to minister, then you're there to support. Real simple. You're there to help, to support. And there's so many ways to support. The most important way is prayer. Brother Ike was talking with Brother Carlos before he left. Now, I'm going to share this with you. Now, there was one other little thing let me tell you about when I went to the Philippines with Brother Frank and Brother Mark and myself, we went to the Philippines. And this was an important meeting. This is when we were going to meet, I don't know if he was a general or a colonel of the army, where one of them, but he was up there. He was in command, I think. And they're just talking to him about the prophet. They were making inroads, because Alan Zanoni was under their command, but at any rate, this day we were going to be introduced to this officer way up there in the military. I'm green. I'm there for a ride, We go in his office, he's behind the desk, and he stands up and shake Brother Frank and Brother Mark's hand, and they say, oh, this is Brother Ron Nisby. I said, how you doing, sir? And I'm just standing on the back, and they're talking, and we sat down, and so they begin to talk. They begin to share with, what was going on in the missionary program, so on and so forth, and then they mentioned something about Brother Branham. And for the life of me, I pulled my wallet out and got this picture out, Brother Brown, and I gave it to him. I gave it to the officer, and they looked, that was out of place. That wasn't my place to do that, and I saw their look, and I said, oh well, it's done now, I did it. But the Lord said He'll work everything for the good. It didn't hurt anything, but it got us. I mean, whatever took place from that, He had the picture, and it supported everything that He was telling them, everything that He was talking to them about it. Now, I remember when I was working for Artco. This is. I'm pretty sure the Lord was trying to accomplish this in my life, and I wasn't even a Christian then, How to say this? I've been an instrument tech over 20 some odd years, 30 some odd years, working on controls, in the oil industry, and I got pretty good at it, I was able to make a living. And I felt that, well, in whatever group I was in, or if I understood, what the problem was or how to solve the problem, I should be able to fix it, But that's not the case. Wherever you go, if you're the new man on the block, well, somebody was there before you, And there's like a pecking order, back to the guy that's in charge, Well, I think my supervisor, I think he saw I needed some humility. I needed to learn humility. I think that's what it was. So he asked me. He told me, I want you for the next 2 weeks. I want you to just ask questions. Just talk to these guys, and just whether you know the question, whether you know the answer or not. I want you to, because he just wanted me to communicate with him, And maybe I was a little too cocky. I don't know, but I didn't accomplish that. That didn't work. So he gave me 2 weeks, and he would let me go, because he couldn't, he couldn't alter my character. So after I became a Christian and went on the field a couple of times, and it was one guy that I was assigned to. He was a much older guy, and he asked me, he says, have you ever heard of the pecking order? I said, what pecking order? He said, I thought so, So see, when you go in the mission field, let's say you're called a minister. Let's say you're a minister. You're called. You feel a calling in your life. And you're inspired. You want to do something for the Lord. But the most important thing is to realize your place. That's the most important thing. And it just so happened, I really didn't want to minister. I really didn't want to preach or speak. No matter like in a service like this, and it's something that you feel the minister should have said, or maybe didn't say correct, you keep that to yourself, or you wait until the service is over, and you share that with him, in confidence. See? And then when you're young, then you realize, that the Lord is not moving through you. It's through someone else. I remember. I think it was. See, it's been so long since I've been on the field. I'm trying to bring back some memories. At my age, it's not that easy. But when I would go to Africa, I remember the trips in Africa. I didn't mind. The Philippines didn't affect me as much as it did, like it did in Africa, because I think mainly because they were black and they were poor and very poor, and just constantly seeing them in that condition, and and we're trying to do something for them, trying to provide food, shelter, and clothing for them. It just got next to me, and I didn't want to, I didn't want to, I didn't want to do that anymore over there. I didn't have that same, I didn't feel that way in the Philippines, put it that way. A lot of times when you're called, you might be called to do missionary work, but it might not be the right time. And it might not be the right place, you know. See? But just like Brother Jim, being a minister, being a teacher, wherever you go, you wait until the Lord calls you to do whatever it is that He wants you to do. But they're the most important thing that we can do, since we're not on the field, is pray. I'm sure Brother Carlos is going to have a wonderful time over there with Brother Ray. Over there, you see more miracles taking place because of the condition of the people. Over here, we have more than anybody in the world. That we live in extravagance over here. So you don't see the Lord moving as much as you do over there. And a lot of times when you're on the mission field and you witness that, it increases your fervor, or your commitment. Your commitment. That's what you want to see. That's part of it. I mean, to witness the people benefiting from your witness or from the ministry. Now, because we don't witness that here that much, don't mean that it's not happening. You may not see healing, or you may not witness in miracles. I should say miracles. That's instantaneous. But anytime the word goes out, it is healing somebody. It is correcting someone's situation. It is strengthening somebody. It's just that it is so concentrated overseas. I mean, you could see the result of your ministry when you're there. And I've been to the Philippines more than I've been to Africa, and the number of how do I put it? Number of missions established is just phenomenal. And right now, I mean, it's all over the world. When I came in, Brother Frank was tied to worldwide missionary outreach. That's just the way it was. And the Lord has done a magnificent, unbelievable work through that organization. Believes International. What's the other one? Voice of Restoration. I'm not sure if that's going on strong, but these men, faithful, because you can't accomplish very much unless you are faithful to the leadership. But the Lord, I haven't been on the field in ages. But whatever He calls you to do, He'll make room for whatever He calls you to do. I remember when I was in my hometown in Beaumont, I'd go back and forth to visit Dad. And On Sundays, Dad would suggest going to a different church. You know, and I didn't want to go to the one that we'd normally go to, and because the band was just too loud. So we went to this one beautiful, absolutely beautiful church, and it was the design of it was like the choir. The choir section was at an angle. It went up in an angle, and there was a semicircle for the congregation. You know, like so, like this, in 5 sections. And I always look for a door, you know, to witness to others, and I look for an opportunity to witness to others. But the minister got up, and he was preaching, and this is where they had praise dancers. That's what they call them. Yeah, and they were playing gospel rap in the church. Yeah, and really, yeah. And they turned it off, because the band started playing. And this was doing the singing. And before they started ministering, well, there was about 3 or 4 aisles between the congregation. And these young ladies, I think, came down 2 aisles. They had jeans on, and they were dancing. Dancing to the music, and I really couldn't believe what I saw, and they got out in the front, and I tried not to telegraph my emotions, when I'm in service, but I couldn't help. But the minister was up there, after it was over with, and I know he was speaking to me. He said, he came up with some lame excuse, he had to do something to keep the young people in service, and try to reach out to them and give them a place, give them something to do. And I must have been showing some weird faces, and he just kind of looked over at me and he said, "You'll have your time," because he knew what I was thinking, But as far as the sincerity of missions, or the necessity of missions, just because Brother Frank is south, in Idaho, we are still a missionary church. Every believer church is, regardless of how much we participate, or how often we participate, physically, or how often anybody come up and minister to us. We're always constantly supporting missions. You don't have to support financially, but prayer is the most important. You may not have a nickel or a dime or shoes or shirt, but prayer will change all of that. So that's the most important thing. Yeah. God bless you.
Amen. The thing I like the most about the missions and God's work is that I know it works. God's plan works. It's not going to fail. As men, we can fail. We could do a lot of things, and we could say, "Oh, I did this, I did that," but we fail to realize what gave us the ability to do that. And that's the great job of God that's given us that ability. A lot of times we try to take that credit from God. I don't want to take no credit from God. Oh, I know I'm a failure in many things, but with God, all things are possible. I remember a time, there was a young lady she was at the end of her road. She was done. She was miserable. Yes, sir. And she was out to commit suicide. Oh, my. And she was out waiting in the waters, ready to do her deals. But there was something that came out that said, "Don't worry, everything's going to be all right." Hallelujah. And God sends a group of missionaries out overseas, and they're singing a song and said, "Saints, don't you know, everything's going to be all right." Amen. If we could just put that trust in God. We don't understand everything all the time, but you put that trust in God, and everything is going to be all right. I believe He's still alive and moving and well. Amen. I believe with all my heart. Let's stand. Amen. Let's sing, "God still moves." Amen. Yes, He does. In the hearts of His people, He still moves. Yes. Amen. Oh God still moves, and God still moves in the hearts of his people. He still moves. He does not sleep, nor does he slumber. God still moves. God still moves. God still moves. God still moves in the hearts of his people. He still moves. He does not sleep, nor does he slumber. God still moves. Yes, God still moves. Amen. I'll ask our friend, Brother Jim, sir, if you could close us with the word of prayer.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we're so glad that you still move.
Yes.
There's still mercy available. Father, we know that time is running short. While there's still mercy, we want to seek mercy. We want to share it with others, Lord. You predestinated so many, Lord, that will come in. You won't lose one of yours. Help us, Father, to be always ready. To be used by you to share your life with others, and that mercy, Father, that grace that we've experienced. We just love you, Father. We commit our lives to you for your service. Help us now as we go our way, Lord, just to think on these things and always have our hearts and minds stayed on you. First thing in the morning, Lord, just be on our hearts and our minds. Pray that at night, all the day through, Lord. Father, just pray be with Brother Ike, lead him, guide him, Father. Bless this church, Lord. Each and every one, Lord, those on the mission field. We just pray that you go and be with them, Lord. Bring us all together someday home with you. We're looking forward to that great wedding supper. We love you now, in Jesus Christ.
Amen. Oh, and God still moves, and God still moves in the hearts of his people. God still moves. He does not sleep, nor does he slumber. God still moves, and God still moves. Amen. You're dismissed. Moves, and God still moves.